You absolutely cannot make this up. Warner Brothers blamed Hurricane Hilary for the abysmal Blue Beetle opening weekend domestic box office performance. Let's just get right into this here. First off, we're going to talk about how much Blue Beetle made in its opening weekend. The film brought in $25 million at the domestic box office and another $18.6 million internationally for a global gross of $45.8 million. That $25 million opening weekend gross earned the film the second worst DCEU opening weekend ever, or if you want to say this is the first DCU movie, you can say that it's the worst opening weekend for that either, even though it would be the first one. I know James Gunn called it the first DCU character, and he said Superman Legacy would be the first DCU movie. I really don't know what that means. It doesn't make any sense to me. But if you want to classify it in the DCEU, it is the second worst one. It only beat Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman 1984, which released in theaters the same day it was released on HBO Max. And that film brought in $16.7 million domestically when it was released a couple years ago. But let's get into this here. Exhibitor Relations said they got a statement from Warner Brothers HQ saying that having them blame the hurricane for the poor box office performance. The storm's impact is anticipated to be significant, particularly in Southern California, where the film is over-indexing. I mean, you cannot make this up. This is absolute garbage, especially when you look at the top 10 Blue Beetle markets. Oh, look, Los Angeles is number 1 in Southern California there. So maybe it was over-indexing, but the hurricane clearly was not keeping people from going to the theaters, as it was the number 1 Blue Beetle market in the United States over its opening weekend. Absolutely ridiculous. I think the fact that LA is the number 1 market proves that the hurricane did not keep people from the box office whatsoever. Not only that, we can look at the top 5 locations. 3 of the 5 are in Los Angeles. AMC Burbank, number 1. Then you have AMC Grove in 4th, and then AMC Century City in 5th. So it just does not make sense whatsoever. Absolute garbage excuse. Never should have sent that out, but they did indeed do that, and I don't think it's going to help this movie whatsoever. Speaking of not helping the movie, the director also is trying to get people into theaters by claiming a green beam seen in the film's opening title sequence is Green Lantern. You can't make this up either. It's literally a green, flashing light right at the beginning of the movie, and you're supposed to know that is somehow a Green Lantern Easter egg. If you've seen it, you know it looks nothing like Green Lantern. There's absolutely no way you would know it was Green Lantern unless you listened to Mr. Soto here telling you that is indeed what it's supposed to be, but I don't think that is what it's supposed to be. It just looks like a giant green light. You have no idea what it is. He said to Heroic Hollywood, there are a lot of Easter eggs. I always say if you watch it a second time or even 3 times, you're going to find different Easter eggs every single time because they're very minimal. He then claimed the green beam in the title sequence is Green Lantern. He said, do you notice the green beam in the title sequence? That's the Green Lantern. See, you'll have to see it again. Absolutely not, because it doesn't look like Green Lantern whatsoever. There's absolutely no way that you know that it is Green Lantern. It just looks like a giant green beam, explosion, light. Could have been some kind of supernova or anything like that. You know, when you look at those so-called pictures from space, they're all kinds of colorful and everything like that. It honestly looks like something from the Northern Lights. There's usually that shade of green in the Northern Lights and things like that. Like, I don't know, it just looked like some kind of giant energy weapon. It didn't look like anything from a Green Lantern weapon or ring construct at all. Just utter ridiculousness. I don't think that's going to work getting people into theaters. I think this movie is dead in the water, and I would probably say that it's going to do worse than Shazam! Fury of the Gods at the end of the day. We'll see if it can do better than 130 million global. It's got a long road to hoe with an absolutely abysmal opening weekend of sub 50 million. But what do you make of the fact that they are blaming the weather for the film's poor box office loss? And then this director claiming that this green flashing light in the opening title sequence is supposed to be Green Lantern, and you're supposed to be able to figure that out, that it's actually some kind of quote-unquote Easter egg. Utterly ridiculous.
Subscribe for more.